everybody. It is Heather and Deb here, Skeptic and the Mystic, on our Here We Pop Up and do an episode journey right now because life is just unfolding in a lot of ways for both of us. So we are here. And speaking of that, we're going to talk today about what to expect on your hero's journey. And this came up as Deb and I were like, what is it that we want to come up? What's been top of mind? And I'm saying how I've experienced some clients who, 2 weeks into or 3 weeks into our coaching, experience, they're like, I'm not making any changes. I'm not there yet. What's going on? Right? And just feeling really frustrated because they're not where they want to be yet, 2 weeks in or a month in or something. So both about Deb and I have been through our own experiences of life and transition and coaching, and we're still in it. Because we're still alive, right, Deb?
Right? Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Expectations, a lot of times are probably our biggest challenge, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have a side note. Last night I led a sound bath and there was a woman that was there for the second time. And she was like, the first time I came here, I just slept amazing. It was so beautiful. It was great. And I was like, and that's dangerous little trap that you fell into because that's not going to happen every time.
Exactly.
Like a drug.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to first share just about the hero's journeys. This is something that I share with everybody when I first start working with them, because this is a framework. Like, frameworks help us to manage our expectations, right? And to understand what's going to happen. And I always say it's like going into a haunted house and having a map, right? To know where, oh, this person's going to jump out at me here. This is going to jump out at me here. When you do that, it's much easier, to not have your nervous system be on edge the whole entire time, because you're like, oh, this is going to happen at this point. This is going to happen at this point. No big deal.
Beautiful analogy, but I hate haunted houses so much. Even if I knew it was coming, I would.
Right. It would be a little bit less, but I'm with you. I wouldn't go in them anyway, but it'd still be less than if you didn't, right?
Right.
So I just want to share, I'm going to screen share just so that for those of you who are visual can see. And if you're listening to this, you can always just Google Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. So Joseph Campbell was a guy who studied all of the world's most famous myths and stories. And he saw that there is a theme. And he basically laid out this theme that was already laid out. He was the one that just kind of put words to it, that there's 3 stages, and there's basically 12 points, but 3 main stages, right, of the hero's journey. So, and if you watch any great movie, Wizard of Oz, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Star Wars, like all of these, why are they so popular? Because Rocky, I love that one because hometown pride, hometown pride, right? But they all have this pattern that you can see. So you have your hero that gets their call to an adventure, right? And they meet a mentor. And they're in their normal world, blah, blah, blah. Well, they get this call to adventure. They can't stay in their normal world. They have to go into the unknown world, right? So they cross this threshold and they experience trials and failures, which creates growth and gives them new skills. And there's this part of them, the old part of them has to die. And the new part of them is reborn. And through that, they get revelations, they have changes, atonement, they get these gifts, and then they go back into the world that they came from, changed. And every part of the journey, right, there's going to be things that will help them grow. If it was, I got a call to an adventure and I crossed into this unknown world, but it was just really actually I knew it and it was so easy and everything was great and lovely. And then I went back into my world. That would be so boring. That's not that is not a fun journey. Right?
Well, and growth does not come from smooth sailing.
No, not at all ever. Right?
Yeah.
So just know that they're you're on a journey. And if you are in a coaching program, if you're in doing energy work, this is part of the process. So we talked about, you see in the write-up, I talked about 3 things to expect on your journey, 2 things that make the journey more challenging, and 1 thing to focus on to have an amazing journey. Because, I'm a dork and I like frameworks, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So
but they're helpful.
Yes. Yeah. So the 3 things to expect: 1, that there will be trials, as we just mentioned, right? And when they happen, right, what is it that I say all the time, Deb? AAA, right? Like, acknowledge it,
Yes.
accept it, and allow it. Like, oh, I'm in a really challenging part of my life right now. Okay. Just gonna accept it and let it be.
Yeah. And the more that you practice that, we're going to get there, but you
Yeah.
start to appreciate those spots because you're like, ooh, something's happening.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes. It's so much fun. And it's not, at the end of the day, it's not about getting to the end of the journey, right? It's about being able to regulate your emotions so that your nervous system can be in a calm place so that you can get through it, right?
Well,
Because the
spoiler
person.
alert, there's no end to the journey anyway. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's when, like, work with so many people who are like, yeah, I got to this place and I wasn't satisfied. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to keep working more and let me get to this place. Right. I'm like, there's a very big difference between I am calm and centered and grounded in myself, and I create the contentedness and happiness and joy that I want. And from there, I'm going to create this experience. I'm going to create this, 6-figure year. And you know what? I'm going to create a multiple 6-figure year. Like, and it's very different than when you come from a place of, I have to do this to get this.
mhm.
Okay? So just expect that there's going to be trials, because, when you were a baby and you were learning how to grow, you weren't like, damn, these feet, like, they're not working. Like, I can't believe them. Like, you're just like, okay, I fell down, got up again.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The second part of it, and I know you can speak to this one, Deb, is the second thing to expect is that there will be times that you feel lost.
Yes. Yes, I can attest to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. I need to find this bumper sticker. I was behind a car the other day that was like, it's, the not all who wander are lost. And it
Mhm.
said, not all who wander are lost. And then it was like, ... Just kidding. I'm really fucking lost. I was like, I need that bumper sticker.
Yeah. I think when you get in that place where you're like, I'm just feeling really lost, like, that's when you're in that, like, death and rebirth stage, because this is discombobulating. Like, this, oh, I don't know how to operate in this new experience, right? And so when that happens, right, again, just, oh my gosh, right? Like, they said that this was going to happen. Great.
Great, right? Yes. Yes. I love that when which always takes reminding in the moment. It's not easy to see in the moment, but it is great when all of a sudden you can be like, again, just like I said, ooh, okay, yeah, this means like I'm on the path.
Mhm. Yeah. And I've had a couple clients recently, like, send me messages and, like, they're like, I feel so lost. And we're like not even a month into our journey. Right. And I'm like, it's awesome, because you know how much energy work I do on people. Right. So it does, like, put you off kilter. And every time I just keep hearing the totally cheesy 80s song from Frozen 2, the Lost in the Woods. Like, and,
I don't know it.
oh my gosh, have you not seen Frozen 2?
I have, but I don't know the song off the top of my head. I'll have
Gosh.
to look it up.
Oh my goch, it's such the cheesiest 80s. Like, when it came on, you just rolled your eyes. But if anybody hasn't seen Frozen 2, I highly recommend it. Like, it is such a great movie about this whole journey and going into the unknown. And we love it when we're like, oh, here's a Disney princess going into the unknown. Yeah, you go on your journey, but we're like, nope, I'm not going on that journey, right?
Right.
There is a space where you kind of feel lost in the woods. That's part of the journey. So again, just expect it and be like, oh, okay, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here, right? And so then that being said, like, again, there's trials, you're going to feel lost. And then the third thing to expect is that you will return changed. You will, if you keep going on the journey. If you turn back, you're not going to return changed. Right? But how long the journey is undetermined.
I would argue, maybe it has checkpoints, but it doesn't have a finish line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's so much in that ability to just keep going. Like, a couple of years ago, my brothers were here, and his boys, we went to this place called the National Whitewater Center that we have here, where the Olympic whitewater team trains. So they have this whole whitewater thing, but they have ropes courses and all this stuff. And my youngest nephew was not old enough to go on the whitewater rafting. adventure. And so he was bummed about it, but I was like, let's go on this ropes course. And he had never done a ropes course before, and it was in the woods. And he was like, okay, and so we get out and, you get off the platform, and then all of a sudden it's like, there's no ground. Right. And he's like halfway in between the first one. And he's like, I want to go back. And I was like, I'm sorry, you can't, you have to keep going forward. And I was right behind him. And I'm like, we're not allowed to turn back, which we were, right? But I knew that it wouldn't have served him if I just was like, okay, you can give up, you can go, right? And
Right.
oh God, I'm so proud of him, like still to this day. And like he just, he just kept going, and and missed like feeling afraid, but I was there with him, and he just went through it, and he was so proud of himself. Like he was a changed person
Yeah.
because he went through that spot. And it may have seemed when he was in it to last a long time, but then when we got to the next ropes course, he was like, yeah, let's go,
Right.
like, right. So it may last a while. And there is a song, I'm sure you've heard it, Deb, from Trevor Hall, called You Can't Rush Your Healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There have been times in my healing journey when that song is on repeat. Like I just lay in bed, I'm like,
Right.
you.
Right. Right. And
Yeah.
that's probably the hardest part is weathering it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we think all the time that we should always feel good. But here's the thing is that what if we reframed like these crappy feelings do feel really good because they're telling me that I'm growing and changing?
Absolutely. I say that all the time in my yoga classes when I'm teaching. I'm always like, yeah, you have to appreciate the discomfort. You have to appreciate
Mhm.
the challenges. Because if you didn't, like exactly what we're saying, but if you didn't have them, you'd really kind of just be like a lump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the three things to expect. The two things that make the journey more challenging. So remember when you're a kid and you go on a car ride, right? Say you're going, your family's going, for like camping or like anywhere. It's this long car ride. And you get in the car and you're like, are we there yet? 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 As a parent, you're like, oh my gosh, shut up, right? And
Right.
as a kid, when you're in that, are we there yet? Right? And the parent's like, oh, look at this. Look at this. No, are we there yet? Right? You missed on so much of the adventure. Right? Years, oh gosh, I forget, I forget what year, like early 2000s. I did a road trip from Jersey to Colorado with one of my friends, and I created this. And this is before we had like smartphones and everything. So I had this whole binder of all these stops that we were going to take, and it was like the world's biggest. Like, world's biggest teepee, I can't even remember what else. I had to go look at my photo album, right? But it's all these like stops along the way, make it
Mhm.
fun. It's like, okay, we have to get to Colorado. Right.
Right.
Right. So that like, are we there yet? Keeps us out of the present moment. Right. And makes us have that, what my coach calls the evidence distortion. Well, when I get there, then I'll feel this.
Right. Right. Well, and that's, I mean, it kind of reflects back on the other three things, right? It's the appreciation for the process.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, yeah, I mean, if you lack that, there's really no point. Like,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the other thing that creates, that makes the journey more challenging is changing the direction that you want to go. Like, okay, we're going to go to Colorado. Nope. You know what? I think we're going to go to Michigan now. Okay, we're going to start going to Michigan. You know what? I think I want to go to Texas now. Okay, now we're going to go to Texas. Wait, you know what? Maybe we'll go to Maine, right? And so now you're like all over the country, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, because you're like, oh, well, there was a road detour, so we might as well go up this way, to this completely different spot now. Instead of just saying, this is what I'm committed to. I'm going to a space and I'm committed to no matter what. I'm lost in the woods. Doesn't matter. I'm committed to this. Like I am like feeling lots of things that I don't want to be feeling. Doesn't matter. I'm committed to this. Right. But we keep changing the direction because we start feeling things that we don't want to feel and think that that is an indicator that we can't get there. But it's not.
Yeah.
Right? You get to decide.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking like initially I'm like, well, just knowing how I am, I have like two different ways that I sometimes work. Like there are times when I'm like, hell no, I know this is the, the goal or whatever word. I don't
Yeah.
like that word, but like, this is the point. This is what I want. And then there are times where I realize along the way that what I thought I wanted isn't actually what I wanted. So I have to redirect a little bit. And
Pivot.
so there's a nuance there, I think.
As with everything, absolutely
Yes.
a nuance, right? You start gathering, you start gathering information and seeing, okay, wait a minute, this is different. But that's very different than I'm changing because it feels a little bit hard.
Yes. Quitting because it got too uncomfortable, then
Right.
maybe that's not a good
Yeah.
strategy.
Right. And you can quit. Like, I am all about quitting. Like, there are times when I'm working, and I'm like, I just got to quit. Like, I have to get space away from this.
Yeah.
Right. That doesn't mean I've quit the whole thing. It's just giving myself a break right now. It's like, okay, we got to take take a rest stop, along the journey. Right. It's very different than like, okay, I'm just changing direction. I didn't get this now. I don't see the evidence of it. So then I'm going to change direction.
Right.
Very different. Okay?
Yeah.
So then those are the two things that make it more challenging, right? Is, are we there yet? And then changing your direction, right? Or changing, the other example of that is like you going out to eat. And my coach talks about this. And I love when I heard her say this example, but you go out to eat and you order something, and instead of like focusing on your friends and who you're there with, you're like, it's not coming out yet. Where is it? Can I change my order? Okay. You change your order. Well, that's not coming out yet. Where is it? And then like you change your order to like, some appetizer of like, vegetables and dip, and where you started off with this big old elaborate plate, and you're like, well, here I am with my vegetables and dip. Because you could just, instead of just enjoying where you are, because like you just keep changing it because you're like, there's no evidence that it's coming out for me yet.
Right.
Slow down, take your time, like let the chef do what he's gonna do. Speaking as a chef, like let the chef deliver you this amazing thing. Yeah. So those are the two things. And then the one thing to focus on to have an amazing journey. You want to speak to this one?
I mean, the feeling is the secret. We always talk about this. That's really what you're chasing, is to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
At the core, that's always what you're looking for. So I think that really is a beautiful life rule that took me a while to learn, for sure. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, kind of hearkening back to what we were talking about, recognizing that the good, so-called good feeling, or whatever you're looking to create, is also going to be temporary. There will be icky feelings along the way to the good feeling, right? So it is back to your AAAs, like allow yourself to feel it and go through it. But ultimately what you're trying to, whether it's whatever tangible object you're looking to pull into your life, it's really about what you want to feel.
And we can create the feeling that we want to feel every single day. It's not like, when this happens, then I can feel this. It's, oh, this is happening. What can I do in the midst of this to create that feeling that I want to feel? Right? I want to feel joy. Well, I just lost this, relationship that I wanted, or lost this job. What can I do to feel joy? Find it doesn't have to be a big jump, right? Just like, okay, I can find joy by appreciating that I have a roof over my head, that I do have clothes on my body, that I had something to eat today. Find the little things, right, to create and cultivate that emotion.
Yeah.
We tend to make it so big and so hard. It's like, no, I can't. I was talking to somebody the other day, and she's like, it's talking about this super frustrating situation. I was like, well, make it fun. Make it a game. It's not a game. It's not fun. Well, that's because you're choosing to not. Well, you're just weird. And I'm like, well, because I guess I'm weird because I don't want to suffer. I'm like,
right.
You get to suffer in this if you want to.
Yeah.
And you want to. So that's fine. You get to, right? But just know that
I have so many examples in the past, probably, few months, year of those moments where it was like, I mean, we all know that I just changed jobs, and that was a huge, huge turning point, right? A huge thing I wanted to happen. And even as that was unfolding, there were some really shitty times and like points where I just had to laugh, because I was like, okay, this tells me it's definitely coming, because this sucks. you know, and like literally like the moment that a leak sprung in my wall and a pipe bursts, I just like it sucked in the moment. And then after I like kind of got my head around it, I literally just started laughing. I'm like, what else? Like, what else?
Yeah. 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 And when you just have fun with it instead of being like, oh, like it makes it very, very big difference. It's like, what else? Everything bad happens to me between like, Lieutenant Dan on the top of the shrimp boat, where he's like, bring it, come on, bring it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully these are helpful to you if you're on that spot in your journey where you might be feeling just like I want to abandon, like abort, like I want to get off this journey. Know that it is all expected. It is all a good thing. Take a deep breath in, do some things to move energy through your body, like move, like dance if you like to dance, jump, like do something, punch a pillow, like do something to get that energy out of your body and just, okay, like I'm on the right course. It's all good. We're going to get there.
Right.
Let us know if this was helpful to you. We will see you the next time that we see you. We're working to get our schedule synced so that we can be more consistent.
Consistency not in our little bragging rights right now.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Exactly.
Awesome. We'll see you or you'll hear us on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.